Autodesk Inventor, using the Extrude command. First thing I want to do is take a look at what I'm going to try and draw. So I have a drawing here of a cube that is 2 inches by 2 inches in the front view, and if I look at the right side view, shows it's 2 inches. So like I said, it's a cube. It'll be 2 inches squared. So if I go back to my Inventor, I'm going to issue a new command. Double click on a standard part. I'm going to draw this part 3 times. I'm going to click on the sketch tool. I can select any plane that I want to work on. The one I'm going to select is the XY plane. That just seems like a good place to start. I'm going to issue a line command. When I issue this line command, you're going to see that there's 3 pieces of information that have popped up. First one highlighted in blue is telling me what the length of this line is. This is part of the parametric structure to the files or to the program that uses dimension-driven information to create geometry. The next icon we're going to see is that there is a small icon showing that I have a horizontal constraint. And it's also showing me the degrees that I'm moving. If I'm moving to the right of the screen, that's going to indicate 0 degrees. I put in 2 into the box for 2 inches. I press enter, moves outside of the screen. I can click on this cube that gives me my different view settings. By clicking on the cube, it will auto zoom and put that into my picture. Now as I start moving the line up from the previous line, it gives me more information. Again, the one that is highlighted in blue tells me the distance or length of the line. I'm going to enter in the number 2 there. I'm not going to press enter yet. There's also an icon above that one that indicates this line is perpendicular to the previous line, which means it's 90 degrees. It's also showing me the degrees that I'm moving from the previous line is 90 degrees. I press enter. Again, goes outside of my screen range. I'm going to just click on the cube one more time. I start moving the line to the left. Again, we see that I can enter in my dimension there for 2 inches. Shows that it's perpendicular, moving 90 degrees. I press enter. I go down with this line and I close the shape in, making sure that I have a green dot closing that in. This shape is all closed. There's no open gaps. This is really important when we go to do any of the extrude functions. I now have my basic geometry show me a 2-dimensional view starting my cube. We're going to sketch and then consume the sketch with a feature. By clicking finish, I now go back into my 3D toolbar. I go up and click the extrude button and it opens up a dialog window. Because there is only one profile to this geometry, it automatically selected that profile. If there was more than one profile, I can select the profile button and then select which profile I want to extrude. It generically has come up and said go 2 inches or 1 inch there. I'm going to ask it to go 2 inches. It auto updates my preview. Down below, I have 4 options for which way to extrude material onto the geometry. I can extrude as it moves towards the screen. I can also extrude going away from the screen. I can also say extrude symmetrically, equally on both sides of the geometry that I drew. Or I can select the last option and give asymmetrical dimensions to where I can give different dimensions for how much of the material is on each side of the geometry. I'm going to stick with the first one. The majority of the time we're just going to use these first 2 commands. Not always, but the majority of the time. So I click OK, and there we go. I've got a 2-inch cube. Said I was going to do this 3 times. This is my first time. I'm now going to go up, issue a new command, double click on standard part, go to start a sketch, go to my XY plane, no particular reason. This time I'm going to use the rectangle command. I'm going to place my first point on there. This one I see that it's highlighted in blue, saying what do I want this dimension to be. I say that I want this one to be 2 inches. By hitting the tab key on the keyboard, it will move me to the other box. I type in 2 inches there, I press enter, and I zoom all by clicking the cube, and it shows there's my geometry, 2 inches by 2 inches. I click finish. Again, I'm going to hit the house here so it zooms all in. Click extrude, defaults to my 1 inch of material. I'm going to tell it to go 2 inches and tell it to go OK. And now I have drawn this for a second time. Third time. I'm going to make a modification to my toolbar. What I want to do is I want to turn on an additional selection, which is under Show Panels. And right now I've got all the checkmark things, but I'm going to include primitives. So I've just turned on primitives. It's brought up this box command. I click on New, double click on the standard part, issue a box command, go over to my XY axis, click in the center here, and you see that it's growing, and just like on the rectangle command, I can type in my dimensions, so I want it to be 2, press the tab key, takes me to the number to where I can enter in 2 inches there. I'm not going to press 2 inches or press enter yet to give me my 2 inches on this side. What's going to happen is as soon as I press enter, it's going to finish the sketch and automatically move into the 3D option for adding some extrusion. It's going to do this all automatically. I press enter, brings up my extrude dialog box, type in the number 2, click OK, hit the house over here by my view cube, and there we go. So I've shown you 3 different ways to draw the same shape. There's no one right way. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. As we begin to get into this a little bit more, you're going to look at parts and quickly identify steps in your mind as to how you're going to start out. Started with a very simple shape here.